they knew he was coming and they were happy for his return. And, unfortunately he went down, was sidelined at Hell in a Cell, but I think almost that was a blessing in disguise because this man had 2 comebacks in 1 calendar year. He comes back at WrestleMania, comes back at the Royal Rumble, and now hopefully, wins the big one, finishes the story at WrestleMania this year.
Hello, everyone. This is Bill Apter for Sportskeeda, and another person who we are proud to have on our panel of experts for the 2022 Sportskeeda Wrestling Awards. Matt Cardona, welcome to the awards panel.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I'm a little underdressed, but I'm always ready to be a panelist. So let's go.
You got some flexing to
that costs more money.
Oh, okay. Well, checks in the mail.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we want to run over the 2022 Wrestling Awards and the choices that the fans will be voting for and our panel of experts. Are you ready?
I'm always ready. Come on. That was a layup. I'm always ready.
Quite a few categories. We're going to start off with Male Wrestler of the Year 2022. Who do you pick and why?
Oh, I mean, how could you not pick Roman Reigns? He is the modern face of WWE, undefeated for so long, has been the champion for, oh my God, I can't even count how many days. Yeah. He's been a main event at WrestleMania year after year after year. He's the tribal chief, and he's doing the most entertaining stuff in all of wrestling right now. So he's definitely number one. Win-loss record aside, he's just the top dog. So.
Okay. Matt Cardona versus Roman Reigns. What happened?
I mean, that would be an interesting matchup. I certainly have nothing to lose in that predicament. I was the PWI Independent Wrestler of the Year.
Yes.
So let's see what happens when the big dog takes on Mr. Always Ready.
My old alma mater, Pro Wrestling. Yes, all right. Actually, you're from Long Island, so
that's right.
You didn't live too far away from our offices in Rockville.
Pretty close. That's right.
Yeah, you should have come up. We could have made you number one in the PWI. Could have paid them off. All right. Let's look at the Female Wrestler of the Year. Who is it?
Ooh, man, I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley for that. I mean, I know she just won the 2023 Rumble. We're judging on 2022, but what she has stepped up her game, evolved, and that's so important in this business. Just a staple of Monday nights, Friday nights, wherever she shows up, and to see what she has done since starting in NXT all the way to now. I mean, definitely my pick as the winner.
Okay. Do you pick her as the maybe face of the WWE moving forward in terms of the women's division?
Well, we'll see if she wins at WrestleMania. We'll find out.
Yeah. What's your prediction for that one?
I mean, I think I'm going to go with, I picked her for this, right? So I'm going to go all the way, stick to my guns, and pick that she's going to win the title.
Okay, sounds good. Rookie of the Year, who you got?
I'm probably going to get some heat for this, but how is it not Logan Paul? I mean, what this guy has done in the handful of matches that he has had. I mean, he had a world title match and held his own against Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So if that's not Rookie of the Year material, I'm not sure what is. And plus, he has such a huge fan base outside of WWE, what he brings to the table for not just WWE, but wrestling. I think that makes him Rookie of the Year. Give some bonus points.
What do you feel his strengths are as a pro wrestler?
I mean, if you watch his matches, it doesn't seem like he's an outsider. He can go, he can do all the moves, he can take all the hits. So I think his strength is that, he's a in-shape guy, very athletic, and has tons of charisma. And obviously has a huge fan base outside of WWE, which definitely helps.
What do you think that wrestlers that have been around a long time in WWE and other federations that see him, are they comfortable with someone just coming in and, oh my God, this?
I mean, I'm sure it rubs some people the wrong way, but that's the business, pal. If you're that confident in your game, he shouldn't threaten you. Nobody should.
Yeah, that was something that a lot of people weren't comfortable with back in the Shane McMahon days. Shane McMahon could have been a luchador.
Oh, Shane McMahon. I mean, look at all the highlight reel of Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon is definitely a superstar.
Yeah, he was amazing in the ring, and nobody knew he had that kind of ring smarts, but he's been doing it since he was a little kid.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on now to the match of the year. This is a big one.
My pick is definitely Seth versus Cody, Hell in the Cell. I mean, the story that was told in that match, that real life story, when Cody took off his jacket, you saw that torn pec, all the blood, and the fact that he was able to not just have the match, but have a match of that quality, and the story that they told and the emotions that they got from all the fans. That's pro wrestling, in my opinion. So definitely match of the year. And it did great things for both of their careers. And now, I'm a merchandise guy. I'm a figure guy. All the merchandise they're going to make of Cody with that torn pec. I mean, that's even more dollar signs. So
I never thought about that. The torn pec version of Cody Rhodes.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming for sure.
Do you think, this is off topic a little bit, but do you think that Sami Zayn is going to be added to WrestleMania and it'll be a three-way dance with Sami, Roman?
I mean, listen, what Sami has done as just, I don't necessarily want to call him a comedy character, but he was a little side piece of the bloodline, and he's turned himself into a threat. You could really picture Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. So kudos to Sami. Is it going to be a three-way? We'll find out. But either way, I think this is one of the best times to be a wrestling fan and a wrestler. So, and I'm both. So I'm really lucking out.
I know. Are you feeling oozy?
Who's not feeling oozy, right?
They should put that to the song "Feeling Groovy." Get the rights to that and "Feeling Oozy." I think that would work great. All right, best promo skills. This is another good one.
Oh, I'm gonna go with my man Cody, because, like I said earlier, it's just real life coming through, and you can feel it, and that's what wrestling's all about. When you can feel it, when it sparks some emotion out of you. And anytime Cody opens his mouth, whether you love him or hate him, you feel it and you believe it. And I think that's the most important part of talking in professional wrestling, is the authenticity. And Cody is definitely authentic.
Do you feel that Cody had that same authenticity when he was in AEW?
Absolutely. And I think, him leaving WWE, going on that journey, finding himself as a performer, as a man, it definitely showcased in AEW, and now even more so that he's back home in WWE.
Okay, yeah, that's a back home. I like that.
That's
where he is. Do you do a Dusty Rhodes imitation?
I do not. I'm not an impersonation guy. I can't do it.
All right.
Not a good one anyway.
Can you do a bad Dusty? All right. Let's go with as we used to say in the magazines, best fan favorite, Babyface.
Oh, all great choices.
Yeah.
Again, man, I'm going with Cody. I mean, he comes back at WrestleMania. Was it a surprise? Maybe not, but sometimes in wrestling, I think you need to give the fans what they want. And the fans, they knew he was coming, and they were happy for his return. And, unfortunately, he went down, was sidelined at Hell in a Cell. But I think almost that was a blessing in disguise, because this man had 2 comebacks in 1 calendar year. He comes back at WrestleMania, comes back at the Royal Rumble, and now hopefully, wins the big one, finishes the story at WrestleMania this year. So definitely Cody, and the fans are behind him. You can't deny that. The merchandise sales prove that. The crowd response proves that. So I'm proud of Cody.
Did AEW, in your opinion, lose a bit when Cody went to WWE?
I think in the sense that he was one of the, the first guys, who started the company. So sure, but AEW is so great. They were just, they made it seem like Cody wasn't even there in a good way. It's like they have so many talented performers where they didn't miss a beat.
Okay. All right. So now let's go to the rule breaker of the year, 2022, the heel of the year.
Oh, I go with MJF for that. MJF, I think, is a true old school heel in the sense that, he's not checking his Twitter to get compliments about himself and retweet him. He genuinely does not want to be liked, and I think that shines through. And I don't think it's a character. I think he's an asshole in real life, and that's great. And he's the champ right now. Listen, Brian Myers, my partner in crime, trained MJF, so I feel like I know MJF. Not that I didn't train MJF. I have nothing to do with his success, but in a way, I'm proud of him, because I knew him when he was just starting out. To see what he's accomplished in such a short period of time, you got to respect that.
Yeah, another Long Island guy, just like
that's right.
Yeah. What about his strengths and weaknesses, what would you say they are?
I think the only weakness he has right now is his spray tan ability. His hands always look a little too dark. You got to wash those hands. If you need some tanning tips, MJF, come to me. But his strengths are his, he can go in the ring and he doesn't need to. He could talk people into a building, which I think is very important. And he's gotten in the best shape of his life. He's got youth on his side. I think we haven't seen the best of MJF yet, and that's a good thing for him.
Okay. All right. 3 more categories. Best international superstar.
I'm going to go with Will Ospreay. He's been having some incredible matches all over the place. He wrestles all over the place. I was actually going to be in a match with him for Warrior Wrestling, but I got injured. So unfortunately, we never got to lock up. Definitely a match I'd like to have in the future. But yeah, I mean, anywhere he goes, he brings the attention and has some killer matches. So I'm going to go with him.
Okay. So 2 more categories. Best moment of the year, 2022.
Man, I really sound like I'm wearing my Nightmare Family jacket, but I feel like it's Cody again. Again, like I said earlier, sometimes in wrestling, you got to give the people what they want. It was a surprise. We all kind of assumed who it was going to be, but it was such a big moment. I mean, the first guy to jump from AEW to WWE, which, that there can only be one first. So there might be a couple more people. There's definitely going to be more people over the years jumping back and forth, but there'll only be one first. And that was Cody Rhodes to do it on the grandest stage, being WrestleMania. Like I said, coming back home, getting that win. And the fact that, something he's never, I don't think he's getting enough credit for. He took everything from AEW since it was his and brought it to WWE. The music, the entrance, the gear, the logos. I don't think that's ever really been done before, where you bring the complete package to another promotion. So he's a trendsetter. I give him credit.
Why didn't it work somewhat in AEW? Because there was a time when the fans were booing him when he was talking and coming out. What do you think precipitated that?
I think Cody was looking out for everybody else and not quite looking out for himself. He was wearing a lot of hats in AEW. He was an EVP, for crying out loud. Yeah. So I think it was time for him to go back to WWE just to selfishly, focus on himself. I mean, I can only assume he grew up wanting to be a world champion, a pro wrestler, not an EVP. Kind of just fell into his lap, and he did a great job at that too.
Do you have a favorite Dusty Rhodes moment or match?
Oh man, I mean, there's so many great Dusty moments and matches. I mean, for me, I was a WWF guy, WWE guy. So I mean, I just love like the feud with Macho King, Randy Savage. I mean, so many people hated the polka dots, but for a kid growing up, I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Oh, it was
the Common Man.
Wonderful. Yeah,
I can understand going back and of course, watching the tape of what he did prior. But that, to me, that was Dusty Rhodes. That's the Dusty Rhodes I grew up on. And I loved it. The polka dots, the colors, the promos, the entrance music. I love that whole total package.
And Sapphire, baby, if you will.
Oh, 100%.
Yes. All right, the final category here is Tag Team of the Year.
Wow, a lot of good teams there. I'm so happy for what the Acclaimed have done. And they would be my pick, except I'm going to have to go with the Usos. Usos are somebody who have been in the WWE over a decade now. I've seen them evolve over time, whether it be just the 2 guys who were twins to the guys who painted their faces to now, that harder style. And now in the bloodline, they're more than just a tag team. In my opinion, they're top guys. Jimmy and Jay are solo. You can say Jimmy and Jay and not just put them together as the Usos. They can do their own thing, and we're seeing that now. So I think that's what makes them the tag team of the year. They stepped up their game. Everybody who is involved with them, whether it be in a promo or a match, gets elevated. So that's a very important part too. I mean, look what they've done for Sami Zayn. Not to take anything away from Sami, but what they've done and just adding that extra element to him. And they're the backup for Roman. I mean, the bloodline is the hottest thing in wrestling right now. So I'm going to go with the Usos.
Okay. So have you ever wrestled either one of them?
Oh, I've wrestled the Usos a bunch of times.
Oh, so tell us what it's like to be in the ring with them.
Oh, I mean, it's a day off. They're so great. They're so talented. And I feel like it was like that from day one of them coming into WWE. I was there a couple of years before they got up to the main roster. And I mean, they had it right away. I think it took a couple years for the company to realize that they had it. Yeah. But all the boys in the back knew.
Yeah. Yeah. They're absolutely a spectacular team.
They're just naturals.
Yes.
You know
what you're doing, where people can find you on social media. Tell us about your collection and everything. The floor is yours.
Well, I mean, I got so much to plug. It's so we'd spend a whole day doing that. I mean, find me on social media at the Matt Cardona on Twitter and Instagram. You know, like I said earlier, it was the PWI Independent Wrestler of the Year. I call myself the indie god, just working my ass off every weekend, whether it be an indie you never heard of or GCW or NWA or Impact. I say I'm always ready, but I really am. I'll wrestle anyone, anywhere. And I have the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, which has blown up into, we do live shows. We have our own action figures, Major Bendies, YouTube channel. It's just pretty incredible. 2022 was, oh, that's not mine. I don't know what that is.
I know it's not.
That's a Slam Buddy.
I got a Slam Buddy Barry Windham midget, not small, compact one.
Yes.
From fundraiser that they did for him. So this would be a collector's item down the line for sure.
Those are very cool. We make something very similar but better called Major Buddies.
I didn't know. I never would have held it up.
No, that's okay. But yeah, it's 2022 was an awesome year for me. It doesn't really matter how you define success, whether it be through accolades or money or happiness, but either way, this was the most successful I was. And that's great, but that was 2022. Now we're in 2023. So how do we top that? That's the challenge, and I'm always ready for the challenge. So 2022 is great, but we're in 2023 now. So
tell us about where people can find your. You mentioned the podcast. You do that with
Brian Myers. We have the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. We talk about wrestling figures, collectibles. You know, whether if it falls into the collectible space. We're talking about it. That drops every Friday, wherever you get your podcast. But we have a YouTube channel where you can see us going on figure hunts, or we do live podcasts. We even have our own wrestling promotion, the Figure Wrestling Federation. So we're keeping busy with that. It was just something we started as a hobby. Didn't even think it would turn into something where we could make money. But, you know, I make more money doing that now than I do wrestling, and I make a lot of money wrestling. So